Hello, welcome back to Mr. Soto's class. Today we're going to be learning about angle measures. I'm going to be giving you guys how to figure out angle measures in degrees and in radians. So let's go ahead and look at these examples. We have 4 examples right now. Example number 1, we're given this angle from here to here. We're trying to measure the angle from here all the way to here. We know that this is in quadrant 1, so we know that from here to here is 90 degrees. And they're telling us that from here to here, it's 55 degrees. So all we have to do is figure out what's left from the 90 degrees. So in this case, all we have to do is get 90 degrees minus the 55 degrees. And that gives us a total of 35 degrees. And that's our answer for number 1. Let's look at example number 2 down here. In this case, you can see that the rotation goes downward like this. Every time the rotation goes down like this, we covered this in the other video, it means that it is a negative angle. So we're going to go ahead and work this out, and then we should know that at the very end it should be a negative angle. So we go from here all the way to here. And now they don't give us this piece, but we know that this piece is 90 degrees. But they do give us this 40-degree angle on this side. So there's 2 ways you can work this out. If this is 40 and we know that this is also 90 degrees, well, 90 minus 40 is 50 degrees. So we know that this piece is 50. So we can add 50 plus the 90, that gives us 140. That's one way you can do this. The other way you can do this is, say for example, we were to go all the way around, all the way over here. That's 180 degrees. We know that that's going to be 180 degrees. Okay, but we don't want this piece because this piece is not included in the angle measure. So all we have to do is get the 180 and take away this piece that's given to us. So 180 minus 40 is equal to 140 degrees. So no matter which way you work it out, you still get the same answer. Let's go ahead and look at example number 3 over here. Oh, I forgot one thing. Since it's going in the negative direction, we have to remember that this is going to be negative. Over here we have the rotation again, it's negative, it goes down like this, but now it goes all the way over here. So just like the previous example, we know that from here all the way to here, that's going to be 180 degrees, but in the negative direction. And all we're going to do is add this extra little piece right here, which is 50 degrees. So I'm going to add 50 degrees. So 180 plus 50, that's going to give me 230 degrees in the negative direction. And then the last example here is example number 4. But if you look at this example, it looks like it coils around. So we covered this in yesterday's notes that when it does a whole rotation like this, it's going to be a 360-degree rotation. Every time it rotates a complete full rotation like that, it's 360 degrees. So it only did one full rotation, so we're right here. But now we got to figure out what this little piece is. Similar to example number 1, we know that all of this is 90 degrees right here. So if we know that this is 90 and this piece is 55, 90 minus 55, that's how we're going to get this extra piece right here. So we get 35 degrees. But now that 35 is this piece right here. So we got to add that to the whole 360 that we already have. 360 plus 35. Oh, going to be 395 degrees. So these are the 4 examples that we have right now. I'm going to go ahead and put up some more examples, and we're going to see how we can change a couple more degrees. How we can measure the other degrees, and then I'll give you guys a little bit of radians to see if you guys can understand what's going on. Alright, so here we have 4 more examples. This last example here, number 5, is going to be the last one for degrees. And then 6, 7, and 8 are going to be in radians. So just go ahead and see if you guys can try and figure out this example number 5 right now. We just covered 4 examples on degrees. Pause the video, see if you guys can figure this one out, okay? It starts from right here, it goes around like this, and it ends right here. If you guys can figure it out, great, and you guys are understanding how to do degrees. But if you can't figure it out, then just go ahead and just continue playing the video, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so here we go. We started right here. It's going in the negative direction because it's going down. And now to count the rotations, what I like to do is I just go straight across this line right here. However many times it crosses the line, that means it's doing a complete rotation. So from here to here, that's one complete rotation. Now from here to here, that's another complete rotation. So far it only has two. It doesn't have any more. So I know that I'm gonna end up multiplying 2 times 360 degrees. Okay, that's what I have so far, 2 times 360. And then from that, I'm gonna add more to it because I didn't end there. I'm gonna continue. From here all the way to over here, I know that that's gonna be 180 degrees. So I can add 180 degrees from there. And then all I have to do is figure out this extra piece right here so I can finish my addition here. Well, I know that from here to here, it's 90 degrees. And they're giving me that over here, it's 20 degrees. So 90 minus 20 is gonna give me 70 degrees. So this piece right here is 70 degrees. So all I'm gonna do is add 70 degrees. So my calculator, those of you that are in the class, you guys can use calculators, plug this in, or even at home with your phone. 2 times 360, 720, plus a 180, plus 70. And the total here should be about 720, oh yeah, 970 degrees. However, it is going in the negative direction, so it's going to be negative 970 degrees. That would be the answer for this example. So if you got that before the video, before I showed you the answer, good job. Now let's talk about radians. So here, I know it's kind of small to see. Maybe I can make this bigger. It says pi over 3. We're trying to get the angle measure from here all the way to here. And they're telling us that this little piece is pi over 3. Now, if you get an example and it's in radians like this, then your answer has to be in radians. You can work this out two ways. You can work it out in radians or you can work it out in degrees. So I'm going to show you guys both ways. If we work this out in radians, we start from here and we go all the way across to here. We know the measure of that in radians. The measure of this in radians is going to be just 1 pi. Okay, so I'll just write pi. And I got to add more to it. Well, this more is going to be this extra piece that they gave us, which is going to be pi over 3. So pi plus pi over 3. So from here, you just got to add them up, and then you get your answer. Now, if you're not good at adding fractions, this is going to be like adding 1 plus 1 over 3. If you're not familiar with that, I mean, we have these TI calculators, and these calculators can pretty much do it for you. So if you're in the classroom, you can just add 1 plus 1/3, and the calculator will do it for you. You should get 4/3. If you want to do this by hand, you have to match the denominators here. The denominator here is a 1 over 1. So you have to match these denominators, so you have to multiply this fraction by 3. So if I multiply this by 3, I'm going to get 3 over 3. So 3 over 3 plus 1 over 3, they have the same denominator, you keep the same denominator, 3 plus 1 is 4. That's how you get 4/3. On the calculator, you don't want to put pi in there because if you put pi in there, it's going to read it as 3.14, but we know that when it comes to radians and degrees, pi does not equal to 3.14, pi equals to 180 degrees. So when you add this up, you get 4 pi over 3. That's going to be our answer for this example. Okay, that's if you do it in radians. Let me show you how we do this in degrees. Let's do this problem all over again. We started from here and we go all the way across over here. In degrees, we know that that's half a circle. Half a circle is going to be 180 degrees. Now we have to add this extra piece. And that piece is given to us in radians. Pi over 3. So we gotta change pi over 3 to radians. And we learned how to do this in the previous video. So we know that pi is 180 degrees. All we're gonna do is substitute 180 for pi and then divide by 3. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So this piece right here is the same as 60 degrees. All we're gonna do is add the 60 to the 180. That's gonna give me 140 degrees. But we don't want our answer to be in degrees, we want it to be in radians. So, like previous video, we learned how to convert degrees to radians by simply dividing by 180. So 240 divided by 180, that's going to give me the same thing as 4 over 3. And don't forget to include pi. So that's how we do this problem here. 4 pi over 3. Let's look at example number 7. Over here, it looks like we completed a full rotation. So one full rotation means, in radians, means 2 pi. Remember over here, there was half a rotation and it equals 2 pi. One full rotation, it's double that, so it's going to be 2 pi. I'll do the word pi. And then we have to add more to it. One whole rotation is 2 pi. From here to here, that's another pi. I can add just one more pi. Now we have to remember the measurement from here to here. That's a quarter of a circle. In other words, it's half of this, half of the 1 pi. So that's the same thing as adding pi over 2, or half of pi. And then we have to add this extra piece that we're given. This extra piece is pi over 6, so we're going to add pi over 6. So again, you're going to plug this into your calculator by adding them all up. If you want to add this in your calculator, all you're going to do is get 2 plus 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 6. So when you add this up, this is going to be 22 over 6, which is the same as 11 over 3. So your calculator should give you this. Now all you got to do is plug this over here. 11 over 3. Don't forget pi. And just double check to see if it's going in the positive direction or in the negative direction. This is going in the negative direction. It's going to be negative. And that's going to be your answer for number 7. So if you wanted to do this in degrees, you know it completes one full rotation, so that's 360 degrees. And then after that, you go half a circle, which is 180 degrees. And then we go 90 degrees right here. And then we go this much more, which is pi over 6. Pi over 6, you can convert that into degrees by changing pi to 180, dividing it by 6. So when you divide this, you should get 30. So that piece right there is 30 degrees. I'm going to add this over here. So when you add this up, you should end up with 660 degrees. And then you divide that by 180 degrees, because that's what you want to do to change it to radians. 7 over 3. And don't forget, it's negative and pi. So take a moment, look at example number 8, see if you can figure this one out. Okay, this is the last example. Pause it and try it out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and work it out right now. So we have example 8, the last one, goes like this. It looks like it completes a full rotation. So a full rotation in radians is 2 pi. Then we got to add this extra piece. So I'm going to add something to it. But we don't know what this piece is. So what we have to do is, again, in degrees, this is 90 degrees. And we have to subtract this from the 90 degrees. But we're not working this out in degrees, we're working this out in radians. So, if you guys remember, 1/4 of a circle, or at least 1 quadrant, 90 degrees, is going to be pi over 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get pi over 2, and I'm going to take away the piece that they're giving us, 4 pi over 9. All I have to do is plug this into my calculator, and it gives it to you right away. You can work this out by hand if you like. But in the classroom, I'm allowing you guys to use the calculators, plug it in, you get the answer. If you were to plug it in, it would be 2 plus 1/2 minus 4 9ths. And so from right here, you should get 37 over 18. So your final answer should be in radians, and then this is going in the positive direction, so your final answer should be 37 pi over 18. Last example. If you wanted to do this in degrees, you got to look at your rotations. It starts from here, it does one full rotation, so it's 360 degrees, and then this much more. So you have to get 90 degrees minus this. But this is the same as this should calculate to 80 degrees. So if I get the 90 degrees minus the 80, I'm going to end up with 10 degrees. So this right here is 10 degrees. So 360 plus 10 is equal to 370 degrees. Divide that by 180 to change it to radians. And then you can see that the zeros cancel, so you're left with 37 over 18 pi. So yes, once again guys, this is it. This is how you change from radians to, this is how you find the angle measures. And if you don't like to do it in radians, you can always do it in degrees. But just make sure that whatever answer you get, you just convert it back to radians. Thank you very much guys for watching.